All right. So I'm going to start the second stage of adding waves. It's where we're going to add when the wave is complete, having the next wave start. So in the first part, I set up all of the wave related variables, and these are all the wave related variables. I've got links to wave images right here. And my wave images are very basic. I'm expecting you guys to make really nice images, not just text, but something dressed up, something looking really nice. And so those are all the variables that I did. And then we went down to the key down function. And in the key down function, when we press the G key, we moved a bunch of code. We moved the code that sets game active to true and the code that starts the background music. We moved that down to the play wave number function, and we added playing the wave number, getting the timer turned on. Now, the play wave number function right here, it's operated by the play wave number timer. It'll run for a certain amount of time. And here we remove the previous image if it exists. We make sure we get the correct image depending on what wave we're on. We add the image to the screen, and we set the size of the image, and we set the height of the image, and then we set its position, and then we add it to the screen, and then we make the wave's image's current size just a little bit bigger. And then we check to see if that current size has hit the maximum finish size. And if it hasn't, this loop will just keep repeating. This is going to cause the image to expand in the way that you see here in the demo. When I press the G key, the wave image expands and comes onto the screen. And then when it's done, it disappears and the wave starts. All right. Then when it does reach its maximum size, when it reaches its finish size, we set game active to true. We start the background music. And we also had to remove that last wave image. We had to set it to null, stop the timer from playing the wave number, and then reset the current size back to the start size. So if we lose a life and we have to play that same wave number again, or if we shot the last enemy and we're going to the next wave, we got to make sure that our current size is set to the start size for the next wave. Now, that finished what I did in the first part of the video. And when I run it here, all we'll see so far is that wave one plays. And I don't even know what actually, press the G key. Yeah, and it'll keep playing. It'll keep playing so long as we're still on wave one. And if I were to play this through, and if I were to get to wave two, and I'm probably not going to get lucky. I'd give up. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to waste time. But if I got to wave two, the wave wouldn't come up, and it would just if I won or I lost, it would just detect that. So what I'm going to do now is here's where the new stuff begins. I'm going to slide down the screen and go to the check element function. In the check element function, in the part where we detect if we've ran into an enemy ship, it's possible that we might collide with the last enemy in a wave. And so right about this point, this is where I decided to put it. Right after we remove the lives array lives from the screen, it's where we've lost a live. We're going to check if it's time to increment waves. And if it is, we're going to, to do this, we're going to call the check wave function. We hit the run button, good, everything works good. Crash into the train, everything worked. So I want to copy those two lines. I don't want to just check if it's time to change waves when I crash into an enemy or crash into the terrain. I also want to check if it's time to increment waves if I shoot the last enemy. And if I shoot the last enemy, I also want to be checking if it's time to have a new wave. And so for that one, I put that code right after setting the explode timer. Right after we set the explode timer, I'm going to paste that those 2 lines to check if it's time to increment waves. And man, compared to the way I did this last year, this is going to be a lot easier because originally I had a bunch of code in both those spots handling the wave checking. But we're moving it out into its own function. So now from there, you can come on down to the check wave function. And here's where the fun starts, in the check wave function. So the check wave function checks if it's time to start the next wave. That was an incomplete comment right there. Now, please remember, I'm going to be typing comments. On your final exam, I'll check all your code. Remember, I expect you to type all the comments that I type. So first we're going to check if all enemies are eliminated. Because if they're not, it's pointless. If there are still enemies left, we're definitely not going to the next wave. We're not going to change our wave number. So if enemies remaining, E-N-E-M-I-E-S, if enemies remaining is equal to 0, and we're going to have an open curly here and a closing curly brace, and then inside this if statement, we're going to, if this is true, first thing we're going to do is what? Great. So let me continue with this recording. So first I'm going to increment my waves here. So that's going to be wave plus plus. Make sure you turn it in up on Google Classroom. All 3 of your PSD files for your wave image, make sure you turn it in, just like my students over on second block. They turn their images in. Make sure you turn your images in, all 3 of them. If you get all 3 of them done, turn your PSD files in on Google Classroom. That's what I want you to do for today. Now, back to this. So first I'm going to increment my waves. And there's many things I'm going to do in here. We're going to set game active to false. Because we don't want the game running while we're doing this, handling this switch to a new wave. And then we need to check to see if there are any waves left. Okay? Because if there aren't any waves left, then we may have won, and we'll have to check for, did we win? So this will be another if statement. So here we're going to have an if statement inside of an if statement. If the wave variable is less than or equal to, all capitals, waves, and I'll go to open curly, close curly, and then tabbed in here. There's things we need to do. If we haven't reached the limit of our waves, if we're not up to wave 3, then we're going to need to reset a bunch of variables. So reset for next wave. And the things we're going to reset is going to be the enemy ship offset. And we're going to set that back to its starting point of 450. That's the first thing I'm going to reset. And then we're going to remove any particles. We're going to add the enemy ships, because since we're starting a new wave, we need to go and add 9 enemy ships back into the game, and that's going to be a add enemy ships function call. We're going to need to reset the player, and that's the reset player function call. See, we're recycling. We're using a bunch of these functions we already have written. We're going back. We're using them again. And we're going to need to add instructions. And that's going to be the add the press G key image. And lastly, we need to reset our enemies remaining. And so enemies remaining is going to be set back to num enemy ships. Now that's if wave is less than or equal to waves. All those things are going to happen. Otherwise, else, you might have got a win. So we need to check for that. In fact, the way my code's written right now, if you get to this else, the only way to get there is to have got a win. And so at this point, we're going to call the don't got code complete on comments, the check win function, not wave, win. I'm going to call the check win function, and that should be it. The code should be ready to go, except for one thing, and we'll have to get to that one thing that we still need to take care of. And, play testing this is the challenge here now is I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to concentrate. Because chewing gum and walking at the same time can be a challenge. And I want to get to the end of a wave. With some lives left, if you don't mind. There we go. There was a problem. Crashed into an enemy. Pressed. Oh, yeah. No, there's no problem. Here it comes. Wait for it. There's wave 2. There we go. And it worked. Man, how did I thread that needle? It's my last chance. And notice how even when I lose a life, it still remembers what wave number I was on. I'm still on wave 2. So the wave 2 image played and the whole animation played. And the code's just naturally set up for that. Now I just cleared another wave. I'll press the G key. I got wave 3 going on here. And it'd be nice if I could get a win. There's no guarantees. I've been known to crash into enemy ships, but I'm feeling pretty good about myself. One more. There we go. Hey, I took it all the way to a win. There's a problem, though, now when I press the Y key and I want to play again, I got a problem. And the reason why is because when I said to play again, well, my wave number's now gone bigger than I'm allowed to have it be. So that's why that error came up, as I predicted it would. So the last thing we need to do, and this is back up in the key down function. This problem happened because I pressed the Y key. And the thing we have to do when you press the Y key is you got to set wave, not waves, but wave. You got to set wave back to, and this is going to be the Y key, which is right here. Right in here, right after we take care of the lives. Set the wave variable back to 1. That way, when you press Y to start again, it'll start at wave 1, and the wave 1 image should play. And I could play test that, but I got to get a win to do that. So I'm going to have to depend on you to play test that. But we'll give it a shot here. But there's no guarantees. I've been known to fail. It'd be nice if I go through the whole thing. That's why play testing with slow speed also makes sense. lost a life. Yep, see, it remembers what wave number I'm on. You have to wait for me to get to a break point, okay? Because I'm right in the middle of playing. So, yeah, definitely cannot do E-Hall pass while I'm right in the middle of trying. But now I got a G key here, don't I? Did you need the restroom, Daniel? There's no E-Hall pass. Or would you have a question? Yeah, so I need an E-Hall pass in order to send you to the restroom. So I'm now going to start to play again while you put that together, and then patiently wait for me to either die or, because I'm on a hot mic and the screen's being captured and it's capturing this wonderful conversation about your need. And it's going to be immortalized on YouTube. Got him. All right. So now I made it to wave 3 with 2 lives left. Excellent. See if I can clear this wave and test that functionality that I claimed I just made. Don't crash, Booth. Got Mr. Chocolate. Ah! What Homer Simpson say? Dope. Got one of them. Come on, get me to a win. Actually, yep, there we go. I got a win. I still had a life left. Got a winner. All right, so now I'm going to press Y to play again. And here's the moment of truth. When I press the G key, do I go back to wave 1? And there it is. My functionality did work. Took a while for me to test it, but we got it there. So that's awesome. So that's going to wrap it up for this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in class.